This is a hearing on a motion to modify child support.
State would seek to call Mr. Fredo Quiones. And where are you working these days, sir?
Right now, my company sent me to help finish a job in Reno, Nevada.
What are they paying you per hour with the company?
Right now, it's an adjusted wage of $52 an hour.
52 an hour? What kind of work is this?
Electrical,
What type of electrics?
commercial, industrial type of work. My wage in El Paso is, I was making 32 an hour, but they needed help out here for a few months, and this job's almost over, probably a month or two.
So you typically make $32 an hour with this same employer?
Yes, I've been with them for 13 years, but right now they sent me out here. They needed help finishing a job out here.
How many hours do you typically get in a week?
Well, it depends. There's weeks when we don't get overtime. There's weeks when we get overtime. We're trying to finish the job, so always when it's trying to finish is when we might get some overtime. Like I send my lawyer those check stubs. I had 5 weeks with no overtime. So, but lately we've been working a minimum of at least 8 hours, 8 to 10 extra per week, if not more sometimes. It all varies depending. Like I said, we're trying to energize the building and do some stuff, so it's taking up a lot of hours lately. But usually we work a 48-hour minimum lately.
So the usual work week for you is 48 hours, and it can vary up or down a little bit from there.
Well, it's 40, but we've been doing 48 on this one. Normally with Berg, we only work 40 hours, but lately it's been at least 48.
Apologies, I'm just taking a few notes on what you let me know. And your overtime, they pay you time and a half?
Time and a half.
Do you have health insurance through your work?
Yeah, no, I pay for it. I pay about $120 a week for my daughter's insurance.
Does that include dental?
Dental and vision, and that's $120 per week, what they take out of my check for that. I get paid weekly.
All right. Do you have any other sources of income besides your regular employment?
No.
When did you start with this current employer?
13 years ago, back in 2007, I want to think. In May.
All right. And at this time, I'd like to pass the witness.
All right, Mr. Quiones, question?
Thank you. Mr. Quiones, is it true that the reason that it's at a higher rate now is because of a temporary position at Reno, Nevada?
Yes, we're like really close to Sacramento in California, so the wages and the rents. I mean, I'm paying about $1,800 for rent over here, and just the cost of living. So the wage adjustment is because of the area where we're finishing up over here, and they can't get a lot of skilled labor out here, so they brought us to help finish. So the area that's very typical for the area's wages.
Okay, and apart from living expenses, do you also have to pay travel costs to travel into El Paso?
Yes, I've been flying in as much as I can to go see my kids regularly to El Paso.
And
so I'm trying for at least once a month. If I can, I do twice, but I'm doing at least trying once a month to fly home.
Okay. In fact, your wife lives in El Paso, correct?
Yes, sir.
And your entire family lives in El Paso?
My entire family lives in El Paso. Like I said, this is a temporary accommodation to help finish this job.
Okay. Are you asking the court to base it instead on the $32 an hour wage?
I would like to. That is my standard base pay back at home. We have an office back at home, and I'm hoping to go back at home after this job, which should be done within the next 2 months.
All right. After these 2 months, will your wage for sure go down to the $32 an hour wage?
Yes. If not, I would let the court know if they try to send me somewhere else. But as far as I'm concerned, it should be back to El Paso.
All right. And when you are in El Paso, how many hours do you typically work in El Paso?
40 hours.
All right. All right. Oh, the health insurance, it covers your girls. It does not cover you, correct?
Mine's covered by my work or my company. It's mainly for the girls.
Okay, so it's okay. So your job pays 100% of your insurance, correct?
As far as I'm concerned, yes. And then it's for my girls that have to pay the additional.
All right, so the 120 is the additional, correct?
Yes.
All right,
And that's per week.
okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Canoth, any other questions?
Yes, sir. Just to clarify a few points, Mr. Quiones.
Mhm.
Do you have any other children besides the two in this case?
I do. She's 20 and I don't pay child support for her anymore. It's only these two kids.
Um, and so when you work in El Paso, do you get overtime?
Seldomly, like on the last job I was there, we did that Beaumont Replacement Hospital. Out of the 6 years I worked there, didn't have any overtime, but like I said, at the end of the job, when we're trying to energize, we got a little bit of overtime. But in the other 5 years on that same job site, I didn't get overtime. Berg Electric doesn't work a lot of overtime unless we require at the end. Usually at the end of jobs, when we're trying to finish is when we work a little bit of overtime.
And how many times a year does that happen?
I want to say usually, like I said, on that job site for 6 years, we didn't get any till the last year. And it was probably about 8 hours for the last 6 months, maybe of the year. I did get at least 8 hours overtime.
Do you have any problem continuing the children under your health insurance through your work?
Oh, no, I want to have them under my insurance. It's not a problem.
All right. Just doing a quick little calculation here based on the information you've given me. And at this time, no further questions for this witness, though I would like to call Miss Melissa R. Lopez.
Okay, hold on, Mr. Quiones, any questions for your client?
No further questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, okay, Mr. Canoth, go ahead.
Ms. Lopez, could you please state your name for the court?
Melissa Ray Lopez.
And do you know where Mr. Quiones is presently working?
Yes, with Berg Electric.
Do you know how much he makes with them?
No, I don't.
Based on his testimony, did the information he provided seem to be an accurate depiction of his earning situation?
Objection, speculation, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, I didn't get to the objection, Mr. Quiones.
Oh, I'm sorry. Objection to speculation, Your Honor, as to his wages.
Okay. Ms. Lopez, only testify to those matters that you do have personal knowledge of. Do not speculate, okay?
Yes, sir.
No.
Ma'am, do you know if Mr. Quiones has any extra income outside of his regular job?
I know that he works a lot of side jobs, which would be like weekend jobs. He does side jobs for people. For example, he'll put in light fixtures or stuff like that.
And how do you know? Apologies, please continue, ma'am.
That was it, sir, for extra income or extra cash, I guess.
And how do you know this information?
He tells me.
So do you know the name of these other employers?
No, I don't. It would just be based on weekends on his time to pick up the girls. He would just let me know, I'm going to be a little late. Can I pick them up another day? Stuff like that. But no, I don't know the name of the employers.
Do you have a picture for how much he might be earning from these side jobs?
No.
Is he working, has he in the past worked these extra jobs while he was working in El Paso?
Yes.
Is it your understanding that he works more than a typical 40-hour work week?
Yes, I think so. Yes.
Even while he's in El Paso?
Yes.
Ma'am, do you have access to private health insurance right now?
I do. Yes.
Are the children presently covered under your healthcare policy?
Both of my girls are covered under eye insurance with me, not under the healthcare. They're under their dad's, under Mr. Quiones's.
And are you okay with them continuing to be covered by Mr. Quiones for purposes of healthcare and dental insurance?
Yes, his is better.
And would the disclosure of your personal information in the final order of this court lead you or any of the children to an increased risk of harm or harassment or anything like that?
No.
All right. State will rest subject to a brief closing argument.
Right. Mr. Quiones, any questions for Ms. Lopez?
Just a couple, Judge.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you. Ma'am, do you have any witnesses to testify here today about his side jobs or proof of his side jobs?
Just Mr. Quiones.
Okay. Well, Mr. Quiones has already stated that he makes no extra income. Do you have anything besides Mr. Quiones?
Nope, other than his words, no, sir.
Okay. Do you have any documentation to show that Mr. Quiones is earning any side jobs or money from side jobs at this time?
No, sir, just his word.
Or any documentation when he was in El Paso earning those side jobs?
No, sir, just his word.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Canoth, any further testimony or evidence in this case?
Nothing further at this time, sir.
All right. State rest.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Quiones, anything on your client's behalf?
Yes, Your Honor. Just briefly, considering the limited time that we have available with this court, we didn't file a motion to continue. Also, the difficulty in trying to arrange all parties to attend the hearing for purposes of calculating his child support. As the client testified, as a respondent testified, he's right now in a temporary position outside of this court's in Reno, Nevada. And so because it is a temporary position, we are asking, and because of the added expenses, we're asking the court to calculate his child support based on his regular income of $32 an hour while in El Paso, as he's testified that he's done that for the past 7 years. So we're asking the court to continue that and to calculate it based on that. Already, that would be an increased amount based on his current child support. Any more than that would be excessive, and any more than that would not be in consideration of his travel expenses to see his wife and his kids here in El Paso, his increased living expenses out in Nevada, and the stipend that he's receiving because of those living expenses. And so we're asking the court to consider those and to take into consideration his average wage of $32 an hour. Thank you.
Mr. Canoth, the state's recommendation on this matter.
As Mr. Quiones' current position is temporary and coming to an end pretty quick here, I agree with his counsel that the appropriate wage to use for calculating child support would be $32 per hour. However, we have testimony from Mr. Quiones as well as Ms. Lopez that he does work more than 40 hours. He does get overtime while he is working in El Paso. Thus, I would recommend that the rate of child support be based on $32 an hour at 48 hours per week, which I calculate at $1,382 per month in child support, which would begin July 1st and continue monthly thereafter. This is factoring in having Mr. Quiones carry the dependents on his health insurance, as both parties agree that's the most economically effective option for that healthcare coverage. If the court should find that Mr. Quiones does not earn enough overtime to warrant calculation when he works in El Paso, the rate of child support based on just $32 an hour, 40 hours a week, would be $1,076.34 per month. But again, the state does recommend the use of the higher amount, since we do have testimony that he makes overtime even while in El Paso. And no request for non-disclosure this time.
Okay. And that calculation is taken into account with that Mr. Quiones will provide the health insurance for the children?
Yes, both calculations factor that in at a rate of $120 per month, covering health and dental.
If I can respond.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Mr. Quiones.
Thank you, Judge. I believe my client's testimony was that he did receive certain points overtime. That was only when a construction project was close to being completed. As he stated, he was at the hospital for 5 years and they really didn't have that much overtime just at the very end. And so we're asking the court to base it on the 40-hour work week, typical work week at this time. Thank you.
And sir, do you have a calculation as to what the support amount should be based on his income and the cost of insurance?
So yeah, I did do the calculations. We're in agreement that the calculations are correct to both calculations, the 48 and the 40. But we're asking that the court do 1,076.32 starting July 1st, 2020.
So your recommendation is 1,076?
Yes, 1,076.32. 34, I'm sorry, 34.
And that Mr. Quiones provide the health insurance for the children.
Correct.
Right. Mr. Canoth, any final closings? Sir?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, based on the testimony presented here today, the court does find that the modification of the child support is in order. Based on the current income of Mr. Quiones and taking into account that he will be ordered to continue with the health insurance for the children, child support, modified child support, $1,075. With the appropriate step down as the first child turns 18, graduates from high school. And that Mr. Quiones continue with the health insurance for the children, tender proof of that coverage to Ms. Lopez within a reasonable time. Does not appear that if it was pled, there was a request for non-disclosure, so that issue is not addressed by the court at this time. Start date would be July 1 with the new child support amounts. Right, Mr. Canoth, is there any other matter that needs to be addressed by the court?
Nothing further. Well, forgive me. Should I submit the order directly to the court or should I circulate it to the parties for signatures?
Okay, that's the next question I was going to ask. Normally after a court hearing, the Attorney General prepares an order for my signature. They do that through the DocuSign application. Do you want to review the order before he tenders it to me, or is it okay if he presents the order to me directly? I have no preference either way, sir. Mr. Quiones?
Oh, for me, I'm okay with him submitting it directly.
Okay, so that Mr. Canoth can go ahead and directly submit it to me.
Sorry, I apologize, Judge. I thought you were asking Ms. Lopez.
I do apologize. I didn't hear it was going in and out of service.
Oh, okay. I was asking Mr. Quiones if it was okay for Mr. Canoth to present it to me directly so I can sign it, or does Mr. Quiones wish to review the order before I sign it? He's indicated to me, as far as I could understand, Mr. Quiones, that you are okay with Mr. Canoth submitting the order directly to me.
That's correct, Judge. Thank you.
Okay, all right. All right, Mr. Canoth, if you will prepare the order, send it to me through that DocuSign application. As soon as I get it, I will sign it, and parties will be sent a copy of the order that I have rendered here today. All right. With all that being done and said, that will conclude our hearing for today. I would thank all for your participation in the court hearing today and cooperation. That will conclude our hearing for today, and the parties are excused. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Judge. Good day.
I'll log out right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.